Hello, gamers and gamettes. What is going on? My name is Tanek127, and welcome back to another video. And guys, in today's video, I want to give you all some tips and tricks on Throne and Liberty. Now, big fat disclaimer: this is a really basic, early beginner's guide. This is probably only going to get you good to about like level 20 or so, like that, and just teach you, some early things about the game. Nothing too serious, just a little something to get your feet in the water a little bit. Just get you started. Nothing too crazy, nothing too serious, just to kind of point you in the right direction. But anyway, you want more guides, tips, tricks, and Throne Liberty videos and stuff like that, make sure you are liking today's video, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and let's go ahead and get on into it. Now, like I was saying before, this guide will probably be good to get you up to level 20. I'm just going to give you guys some early on advice here. So once you are complete the intro, you're going to come to this first town here called Castleton. And as you'll notice, it'll have a waypoint that they'll have you scan pretty much early in the quest line once you get to this area. The cool thing is Throne and Liberty is always going to point you into the direction of the different waypoints in pretty much every area that you unlock. Like, basically, one quest that you get in a new area is always going to be, hey, go unlock this area's waypoint. And, just so you know, until you get to a certain level, these waypoints you can travel for free. I believe, yeah, it actually says right there on the screen. As long as you're below level 30, you can travel between these different areas for free. So, big piece of advice right there. Make sure you are keeping your gold handy, because once you are over level 30, it's going to cost you to teleport any and everywhere in the game world. So just a heads up. Either, be prepared to spend a lot of gold teleporting, or ride your mount around a lot, or I'll say morph. So sorry about that. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some of the beginner and early things and all that stuff. So here in this town, Castleton, one reason I picked here is because this seems to be like one of the main, probably the main hub city of the game right now, at least for, early game and stuff like that, and everything is here. I'm talking about, NPCs that teach you to upgrade your weapons, upgrade your gear, your equipment, how to enchant your skills, all that. All of those things you're going to learn here in this town. And I'm going to tell you, one big thing you want to do in this game is knock out a lot of your quests, knock out a lot of your side quests. Now, as you guys can see here on my screen, I'm going to show you all two prime examples. Your main quest is always going to be that purplish looking star thingy. You guys see right here on my screen that indicator that says I'm 2,073 meters away. Yeah, that dark purple one is always going to indicate your main quest, while those blue ones are going to indicate side quests. And as you guys can see, I have a lot to do, and I am telling y'all to go and do your quest lines. So I'm a bit of a hypocrite in this video, I'm not going to lie. But no, in all seriousness, when I'm done this guide, I'm going to go knock these out. But yeah, knocking your quest out and your side quest is going to be your easiest way to earn XP. If you want to keep track of your XP and your experience points, there's actually a bar right at the bottom of your screen that tells you how far along you are in gaining experience to the next level. The bar will slowly fill, or you can simply check your stats and see how much XP you need to the next level. But the point is, quests are always going to be your fastest and quickest way to gain experience. Maybe dungeons will be a little bit quicker. That's how it works in a lot of MMOs. But quests always give you huge chunks at a time. Like getting to level 20, as long as you're following your main quest. And as you guys can see, I still have a bunch of side quests lined up that I haven't done yet. And getting there was pretty quick. So first and foremost, let's talk about our character. One thing about Throne and Liberty is there's a lot of different weapons and skills you can pick from. There are all kinds of combinations you guys can put together. Me personally, I have like a sort of Dark Knight style build here going on. I'm using a great sword and a staff. I'm basically going with a sword and magic. Not quite, a spell blade kind of thing. That's more so, like the rogue and magic deal. But you guys get the kind of tone I'm going for. Now, when you're here on the game, you're going to notice on your character screen, you have a lot of stats here. There's your weapons, your gear and equipment. All these different things are going to attribute to one big stat. And that's here at the bottom of the screen. This is called your combat power. You're going to hear a lot of people in game refer to it as CP because, they abbreviate a lot of things to communicate to communicate quickly. People are going to start yelling out different CP requirements and stuff like that. CP, long story short, is your gear score in the long run. It's accumulation. It's overall accumulation of how powerful your character is between skills, stat points, your character's level, and stuff like that. But you're going to hit the level cap, and you're eventually, it's going to get to a point where your main focus is upgrading your gear, and that's what's always going to be the main thing that increases your combat power. So for right now, there's a lot of things that go into it. But once you hit end game and you're at that level cap, your combat power is mostly going to be based off of your current gear score. You have a bunch of pieces of different gear you can use. You have a headpiece, of course, chest, legs, feet, arms, a cloak. You have a necklace, bracelet, 2 rings, and a belt that equip. All these things, like I said, they're going to go and increase your combat power. As you guys can see, I am currently a combat power 458. The game is broken up into 4 simple stats, which is honestly a beautiful thing. Each stat says, what they attribute. So basically, the build for your character just increase the stat that, in so many words, goes along with the build you're going for. Like, for example, if you're a mage, you probably want to focus a lot on, like wisdom and perception, getting, your accuracy up, your mana up, your magic damage and stuff like that. If you're using something more melee based, like a sword or twin blade or something like that, you want to work on your dexterity, getting your perception up, your critical hit rate and stuff like that. If you're going for more of a tank style build, you want to work on your strength, which is going to increase your damage, increase your HP, and all kinds of fun things like that. The stats, they're pretty self-explanatory. And then, of course, when you scroll over, you got the life skill stats right here: cooking, fishing, and expeditions. But we'll save that for another time. Life skills and crafting and all that. We're going to do that in a completely different video. The next thing you want to make sure you're focusing on a lot, especially early game, is your skills. Now, your skills pretty self-explanatory. They're the different abilities you have. These are going to change based on the weapons you have equipped. So if you're equipped, say, with a bow and a staff, you're going to have a skill tree up top for your bow, and you're going to have a skill tree on the bottom for your staff. Me personally, like I told you guys, I got a great sword and a staff. So here are my great sword skills, and then here are my staff skills down bottom. You're going to have a set group of 10 different skills. Technically 12. You're going to have 2 to unlock at level 50. Now, these 2 level 50 ones, I don't know if it lets you use them both. I'm not quite sure. Like I said, this is a beginner's guide. We're still early on, so I'm going to assume that you can, but I'm not sure how that works. Over here on the left side, you have defensive skills. These are basically a skill that is your block. So, for example, like when you use the greatsword, you have a block that where your character will put their sword up, to defend against an attack. If you're using the staff, it's like this big giant like mana ball that goes around you to protect you. But yeah, your defensive skills, they're just your block. That's all they are. That's real simple. You have your passive skills here. As you level up, you can equip more of these. Totally, once you hit level 40, you'll be able to equip a maximum of 8. Again, look at these carefully, level and upgrade them carefully, and do what goes along with the build and play style of your character. Don't let somebody tell you that there's one way you want to build your character or class or whatever. There's too many different combinations in this game you can do. So I don't think there's going to be any set way for, a certain build to be played. I mean, we'll see, as the game goes on and, its life cycle continues. The game's still new, so I very well could be wrong about that. But, just make sure you guys are, just doing your build accordingly. Over here, if you hit RB or R1, depending on whether you're on Xbox, PlayStation, or whichever button it is on PC, you have a skill specialization menu. These can morph your skills to do different things. Like, for example, I had a cleaving ability. I then turned it into a frost cleaving ability because, again, I'm going for like a Death Knight sword mage kind of build. So it actually made one of my sword skills have an elemental effect to it that works with magic, that goes along, with what I'm trying to do. There's all kinds of different buffs and different characteristics you can add to these abilities. So again, when you use your skill specialization points, think of the kind of build you're going for, and just apply them accordingly. That's the thing with this guide, guys. I'm not going to be able to tell you where to put these points in the best place to do it for your class. That's up to you to decide your play style, whether you're a healer, a tank, or DPS. It's going to come naturally to you. Like, I know this is a guide, and I know that's something probably a lot of people want to explain, but there's certain things you're going to have to read and just get a little bit of a sprinkle for your own. Like, for example, let's say you're a tank, right? Let's say Death Blow here gives me some type of ability where I can increase aggro or something like that. I obviously want to go for the buff that increases my aggro since I'm a tank, so that way I can pull enemies quicker and keep them off of the healer and the DPS and all that fun stuff. It's a common sense thing. All right, I'm not even trying to be that guy when it comes to that, but seriously, it really is. Now, the next thing we want to talk about here in Throne and Liberty, which is another big part of your leveling, is your equipment enchanting. Now, if you've played Terra or any game like Terra, you have been to this hellish little place before. Now, tell me this screen doesn't look fairly familiar to you, especially if you've played Terra. It's real simple. The chances are all labeled right there at the bottom of the screen. It's real simple. The higher you get your weapon, the stronger it is, the more damage it does, the more benefits it gives your character, and also, again, the more it increases your combat power. But simply, what it takes to upgrade your weapons and stuff like that are what's called quality weapon growth stones. And when you use these, they're going to come in different rarities. You're going to have gray ones. You're going to have green ones. You're going to have purple ones. And the more rare they are, the lower the chances, and the higher quality weapons. You guys know how the rarity system works. But simply, you just you hold A, it's going to cost you a little bit of gold, and of course the growth stone, and you keep going until the bar is filled up. Boom, and just like that, we increased it to level 3. I'll also give you guys an example of one on a skill. I know we were looking at the skills earlier. We'll go ahead and upgrade ourselves a skill just so you guys can see how that works. Which one do I really like? This ice one over here. Let's go ahead and do that. You push Y for skill growth. Again, with your skills, you do the same thing. Instead of the little coins like for the weapons, you're going to have what's called active skill growth books. They're going to come in different qualities too. Gray, green, purple, blue. You guys get the higher the rarity, the more they're worth, the higher the skill, etc., etc., etc. If you know those rarity types, it's a pretty common sense thing. But here you go. We're just going to show you guys how you upgrade your skills. And like I said, all you want to do is just fill up the circle. The higher you get, the lower your chances of upgrading are going to be. And this is where the game's RNG begins to kick in. That annoying, I guess some people call it annoying, the grind of that or whatever. That's how MMOs work. Okay, so it doesn't really bother me, but that part is just basically a bunch of things you can do to level. And then of course just getting good gear drops from dungeons and different things like that. Like one example, me personally, I'm getting ready to work on a dungeon right now once I get my combat power just a bit up. Now, co-op dungeons, this is going to be the last thing that we're going to talk about here in the guide. This is probably going to be one of your best sources of gear farming. Now, the thing is, you're going to need a minimum combat power of 600 to do your first dungeon, which is called Spectre's Abyss. Me personally, I just unlocked Spectre's Abyss at level 20. There's going to be a couple bosses in there. There's going to be different drops, and the game's going to show the possibility of all the things you can get right there on the right hand side of the screen. But the dungeons are basically one of the main things, PvE wise at least, that you're working to to get into. This is one reason, you know, you want to keep your combat power up to shape at all points in time, so you can run the latest and greatest content, get those better gear drops and stuff like that. If you've played an MMO before, you know how this game works. Go in, farm, get gear, level up some, go in, do the next one, get better gear, etc., etc., etc. But just like, you know, typical MMORPGs, there's a party board and party matchmaking where, you know, you can just queue up and run a dungeon with other players. The dungeons go up to 4 or 5 players, I believe. It's going to consist of a tank, healer, and a couple of DPS. You guys know the drill with that. Go in there, get your loot, and all that fun stuff. And once you're on that point, level 20 from there, that's probably, you know, where things get more intense and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to go over some basics to get you started in Throne and Liberty. Just, you know, something short, sweet, and simple to get your foot in the door. And if you've been playing Throne and Liberty for, you know, a good while, let's say you know you played the international version that was out last year and stuff like that, and you have a lot of knowledge in the game, feel free to share your knowledge down in the comments. If you feel I missed something that, you know, basic players need, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. But anyway, y'all enjoyed today's video. Smash that like button. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.